Hi, my name is Michael Poley, and I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. My friends are obsessed and always make jokes and references to it, and so now, 20 years later, I've been convinced to watch the show from beginning to end, one episode a week. I'm a Buffy Virgin.
Hi there, welcome to another episode of Buffy Virgin. I will be the host today. It's Travis. Also here today is Michael Poley.
Hello, I'm the Virgin. I've only seen Buffy up to Season 3, Episode 8, Lover's Walk.
And also with us is a cartoonist, Denis St. John.
Hey, thanks for having me back on, guys.
Thanks for coming back.
And you can
find
find
my book, Land of Many Monsters, and many more monster tales.
That's on Amazon, and his website is Denis Comics, Denis with one N, comics with an X instead of a C. So that's
instead of the second C.
Yes,
he's Denis Zomics.
Yeah, Zomics, yeah, or Zombie Comics. No, it's just Denis Comics. All right, this rambling, don't get distracted. It's just DenisComics.com. So, as always, we start the episode with a summary. And today's summary, I think, might be special, might be pretty exciting. So we're going to do that right now.
There's no way of knowing.
My name is Xander. Don't test that well. I'd study for the SATs, but I'm distracted by these bombshells. My school pics are perfect lady locker material. Girls eat me up like breakfast cereal. Images of me spreading like venereal. My sexual obsessions episodic and serial. Tonight we're headed on a double date. Cordelia Willow Oz, I can't be late. Believe me when I say I get the spins. Watching women knocking down bowling pins. Willow's at the chem lab, the meetup spot. And she is looking hot, I wanna lick her, but I don't wanna get caught. What's my girlfriend's name? I forgot. She's working on a spell, and that's a love potion. For me, that's a hard sell. Love magic is hell. Oh shit! It's Spike. Wasn't he banished to hell?
Xander!
I need to borrow the little girl. You don't mind, do you?
I wake up injured in a cage, feeling all the rage. On my deathbed, beside me is a redhead. You know you're the one I want to share my pillow with. You'll always be my willow wish.
I'm not supposed to.
Exemption for impending death situation.
As soon as we lock lips, I feel like a sinking ship. Hi, Oz Cordelia. Thought we were in North Korea. Well, that's the end of that. Then Cordelia goes splat. Next thing you know, I'm in the hospital with flowers like a local reputable. I know things went the wrong way. Now she wants me to stay away. But I fucked up. I'm sorry. I'll buy you a Ferrari, whatever it takes. I'll even make cupcakes. And now all I can do is take stock of what happened on that Lover's Walk.
All right, that was an awesome summary. We're back from the summary. Great job. And we're going to go right into great lines. And Mike, our Virgin's going to start off with great lines.
Sure. So I love these lines when they're talking about SATs where Willow says, talks about Buffy's SAT score, and she says, Buffy, hey, did you get your SAT scores? And then Xander, before he gets this little zing in just before, he says, and from the look on your face, I expect we'll be manning the drive-thru side by side. I just love how upfront Xander is about he's an idiot.
Yeah,
the self-loathing is amazing.
All right, I have three. I picked. Well, what happened to Mike?
Oh shit!
We've got his headshot. Ooh, he's doing casting calls.
Oh, did you switch? Okay.
Something fucked up over here. This will take a second.
All right. While you're fixing stuff, I'll do my lines. I did from Joyce. Xander's a witch. I just like how quickly that scene, how confused Joyce is in that scene. From Spike. Have you ever seen a chaos demon? They're all slime and antlers.
Amazing accent. You were born in Great Britain.
And from the shopkeep, we don't carry leprosy.
That's one of my favorite lines of this whole episode.
This episode has like so many good lines. Like it was hard to pare it down, you know.
So my one, which is from a different era, is Buffy saying to Giles, "Whoa, be kind and rewind." When he's trying to summarize, when he's telling her that maybe she can go to college. And for those people who may not remember, "Be kind and rewind" was the saying about VHS tapes when you returned them to the library or to a place called Blockbuster or Hollywood Video. Although I think I read a year or two ago, there were still 4 Blockbusters in operation in the country. But Be Kind and Rewind. It's also a movie from the late 1990s. Jack Black, right?
I also like from that same scene when Buffy is like, you know, Mom's head spun around and exploded, and Giles is like, "I've been on the Hellmouth too long." That was metaphorically.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so we're going to go into weird noticings and trivia, and Dennis, start us off.
All right. Characters who don't study but test well is kind of an annoying TV trope. Just because, I mean, it does sometimes happen in real life, but it's just such a, like, I don't know. It's like a Zach Morris thing, right? It's like a Saved by the Bell thing. Like, I'm a genius, but I don't try hard.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because in this episode we have 3 characters who are that. We have like Cordelia, Oz, and Buffy are all like, I don't work hard, but I'm just like really good at testing.
Yeah, is that because they're so busy slaying we don't even want to get into, you know, what they're doing with all their time? Like they're clearly not studying and they maybe want to justify how smart they are. I don't know. I think it's annoying too in real life when people are like that. It does happen though.
It's worse in real life than it is on TV. But eventually those people like get crushed because they eventually like hit walls and they've never learned how to like work hard, right?
Yeah, it's better just to work hard throughout, to be constantly pushed to the limit. That's where you got to be.
That's right. Life is study, man.
Mike, I know Dennis, next one. Talk about Spike coming back.
Oh, Spike's entrance is great and a classic Whedon cut. The whole like, Cordelia is like, who would be dumb enough to come back here? Cut to Spike crashing through the Sunnydale sign. That's how we know. That's where the episode begins. Spike's back and he's drunk.
My take is that they showed zero condemnation of that insane amount of drunk driving.
He's evil.
He's evil already, but it's like it's like a joke. Like he crashes through, falls out, then passes out. Like it's played as a joke. I just like, man, they don't care at all about that.
That's true. I feel like that would be a lot harder to get away with now, right?
It is insane to get away with.
Well, he's such a delightful character. I think we're all happy that he's back, right? Like,
yeah, definitely.
I definitely.
I hate Spike as a character.
You hate him?
I hate the Spike character, but that's me. That's just me.
Whoa, man. I also love him being drunk. Like at the beginning, like just the thing of like a vampire getting so drunk he passes out and catches on fire. It's such a good like.
Yeah, why hasn't happened before?
Consequence, you know.
Yeah.
Also, just that scene where he's drunk, like yelling at Angel, and Angel's just like reading a book by the fire. Yeah. Just like I don't know. They're such different characters, and Spike has such more entertaining energy than like I don't know. Angel, this episode, I kept thinking of him being like, he's like from a Bronte novel or something. He's like, I'm a Victorian like romance character who's for some reason here.
He's even earlier. He's from the 1700s. He's from like predates that. But.
Yeah, but the way he behaves in this episode, right? Like he's definitely the more grounded of the two characters, Spike and Angel.
Yeah, I mean, Spike's from the mid 1800s, and yeah, it's very much about humanism. Or anyways, ironically. All right, we can get into Spike's origins. I just was realizing I didn't know how much to spoil. So, Dennis, you're telling me that you've seen a Wolfman Pez.
So Oz gives Willow a witch Pez, and he's a great boyfriend. You gotta give it to him. He's an amazing boyfriend, really. But he says, she's like, oh, we should get a werewolf for the witch. because he's a werewolf, she's a witch. But he says they don't make a werewolf Pez, but they used to. There is a Wolfman Pez, but I can understand them not wanting to buy it because I looked it up and it's like $350 now to buy a Wolfman Pez.
But that's since this episode, you got to go back in
That's
time.
in 2017.
You got to do the eBay price tracker and see like where the spike was. It was probably season 3, episode 8.
When was it put into production? That's the question.
Totally.
It was from the 60s.
Oh, so it must have been out of production by then.
Yeah.
Do you think the Witch Pez was in production?
It looks like a classic witch.
Yeah,
Pez.
the Witch Pez
has remained in production.
In continued production, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hell, before the internet, they may not have been able to Google Wolfman Pez.
That's true. I feel like that's one of the first websites that the internet would have created. Is like,
I don't see the witch. I don't see the Wolfman Pez.
That feels to me very much like an early internet website, though. It's like your Pez, your complete Pez collection, the website, right?
That's a GeoCities nightmare if I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
It's like
it'd have like an animated background.
Yeah. It's
like a Pez spinning.
It feels like, 240 by 240 pictures of Pez. Yeah, no one's gonna get that. Okay, so
yeah, they will. I don't think that's a deep cut. I think the existence of the internet, the early internet, is not too deep a cut.
No, the 240 by 240. Okay. That's a resolution for a file, if anyone was curious, which is the size of a postage stamp nowadays. Okay, Giles is real about Angel. Giles hates Angel.
Giles hates Angel. He's real. That scene where he's like talking to Buffy and he's going to go camping, and he's just like, "Are you going to go see Angel?"
I mean, why can't he trust her?
Because
she's only saved the world 2 times. Is it like the 3rd time she saves the world? He's like,
so
you know what?
So you're in camp. Okay. I guess you've missed a few episodes. We are all in camp. Angel and Buffy are a bad idea. But you're in camp like we should trust Buffy to make out with an atomic bomb.
My feeling is she saved the world 2 times. She's still up by 2. If she fudges up, and she's got to save the world a 3rd time.
She's got a world to explore.
Yeah, but the consequences.
She wouldn't have had to save the world a 2nd time if she hadn't have had sex with Angel.
But we did. But that wasn't. Was it things? There are things we know, and there's things we know we don't know. That was a thing they didn't know. They didn't know the first time. Unknown. Donnie Rumsfeld. That's a Donnie Rumsfeld reference. Jesus. Okay, I'm on team Buffy is a great person, and Giles went off all crazy on her that she didn't respect him last time, and then he doesn't respect her this time, and it's like, do as I say or say as I do.
Look, he just needs to get a little bit of a warning if there's going to be an A-bomb explosion, right? And knowing that she's going to be seeing Angel, Giles should know then, I should probably bring a cell phone. Who knows what will happen. I shouldn't just go out in the woods and not be contactable like he does. He's like, I'm going off. I'm not going to be appearing in this episode. Is everything going to be okay? I mean, I could just get knocked out, but it's probably better if I take off. That's probably safer. Multiple head traumas, that's going to get a little redundant.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, when Buffy had sex with Angel, it wasn't because she made bad decisions or was a loose person or was immature, right? None of that.
Yeah, but the way the thing the show is saying now is that as much as Buffy and Angel want to be mature and stuff, their hormones are dangerous, and not just in a normal teenage way of danger leading to pregnancy, but in the danger is multiple murders and perhaps the end of the world, right?
So I would say the hormones are dangerous in this episode. What the show is saying more about Angel and Buffy to me in this episode is really a heartbreaking a statement about a relationship that can never be, that can never exist, rather than Buffy's out of control with her hormones. Hormones do play into this whole episode. I totally agree, but I think getting on Buffy, she's made bad decisions,
But she has made bad decisions to like hide Angel and to make out with Angel.
Yeah, but those haven't led anywhere negative yet. Right?
Yeah, but the implications of lying to her friends was a mistake. That's why I really got on Buffy's case, because she was lying about something that she knew everyone would be bothered by, which is why she lied. Now, in this episode, different conversation. Giles can't be in this episode because it's so clear an adult needs to be in the room to call out all the problems that happen at the end of this episode, where if Oz, Cordelia, and Giles run into, Willow and Willow and Xander, it's a completely different moment. Much better that he's gone for this episode or knocked out or whatever.
Yeah, that would be funny if he was there and he was like as heartbroken as everyone else.
Right. Which I don't think he would be as heartbroken. I think he'd be like, teenagers, this is all predictable.
Oh, this is rather inappropriate.
All right, moving on. Annoying TV thing. Mike, tell us about getting broken up with on TV.
So the annoying TV thing that
happens. I have the
happens.
experience on that. You've never been broken up on TV, but.
No, I've never been broken up with on TV. So this is just based on watching TV. But it's like you're the telegraph of the breakup between, Oz and Willow, Cordelia, Xander. Like, we know those things are ending because like Oz and Cordelia are so sweet in this episode. Like, Oz gives Willow the little Pez, and Cordelia has a locker full of photos of her and Xander that she likes, and like they're of course Willow and Xander can't help but touch each other throughout this episode. It's like, this has got to end. We know it's going to end, and so the telegraphing was really heightened about how great they are, as couples.
And it really makes it feel even more disgusting than usual. Like, just when Xander and Willow can't, like, I want to kiss your ear, like, ugh. So gross.
All right, so moving on, Xander and Willow, Willow tricks Xander into coming along for a delusting spell. And this is a moment where Xander actually has 1 ounce. He used up his ounce of common sense this episode for the whole season, it seems.
Right, and I was surprised that Xander was able to recognize what the spell was for. And so that was like, that's just a fun moment. He's like, oh, love spell. You know how these go for me? And like just these random ingredients. I don't think I know enough about what goes into a love spell to recognize that, but just funny that Xander
this is his second love spell, right?
He has such PTSD from that moment. He sees a random pile of ingredients in a chem lab. He's like, I know what that is.
I also, he had another good line where he's like, it smells like church in here. No, wait. Evil church.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's like there's like this one moment where he's totally a tolerable person in this episode, where he's fun and he understands like negative consequences, and then there's like the rest of the episode and the rest of the season and the rest of the series. All right, return of the magic shop and another dead magic shop owner. So two have died on our watch, or how many have died? 3.
John is not here to do the predictions, but Mike totally predicted we'd return to the magic shop, right?
Yes,
possibly. I have a lot of outstanding predictions.
I feel like that was a season 1 prediction you made.
Yeah.
Or a season 2 prediction. Yeah.
I feel like there's at least 2 dead magic shop owners.
Yeah, I also wonder if this new magic shop owner is like related to the first magic shop owner. Like maybe that was her dad or something.
It's so sad.
So cool.
Oh, shit.
I mean, but this lady seems kind of clueless. There were no crosses around. Although there's much water in there.
Clueless? What do you mean?
Well, she clearly knows. I mean, this story is really funny because like
Spike is an infamous vampire. It's
magic
like
kits. They're not selling like
comes into your guitar shop. You might have never met Bruce Springsteen before, but you'd be like, "Oh, that's a famous guitar person." But like, Spike is an infamous vampire who has terrorized that town just a few months before. Like, you have to be up on your stuff if you're the magic shop owner.
Well, she wasn't in town for that. Obviously, the other magic shop owner was in town for that.
I guess she didn't get to ask what happened to the previous magic shop owner.
Yeah.
I was going to say that she wasn't up on her stuff. There were no crosses, but later on, there's a bunch of holy water in the store. I think, right, through the fight scene.
Yeah. The amount of great stuff in the magic shop, like,
yeah.
When later on, when Spike pulls out, like, he needs rat's eyes for the magic, and it's like this giant jar full of rat's eyes. Like, that's so disgusting. And there's no way that's not like some sort of health hazard. So, like, that place is going to get shut down when the health inspector. I don't know if a health inspector comes into a magic shop very much, but like, jar of rat eyes.
It's really great that they're, that whole fight scene later that takes place when the magic shop gets destroyed. I mean, not only the owner killed, but the place gets destroyed. It would have been great if the fight really like broke out in the magic shop. I think that would have been more fun because there's just so much
like
stuff.
Random magic was being used and stuff. Like,
I don't know.
Accidental spells going off. Yeah.
I mean, none of them are real witches or anything, so it's unlikely, but.
Well, so Mikey really likes the Spike banter with Joyce.
Oh my gosh, this is the best. This is possibly one of the best scenes in this episode, if not the season.
I think this might be like one of the top 10 Buffy scenes ever. I mean, it's so good.
Well, it's unpredictable, but it fits with the character, right? We've just seen Spike kind of like spill his guts to Willow about a situation with Drew, and it's a great drunk, broken up with guy monologue. And then to have that same monologue triggered again with a new person, it means he can tell the story again to Joyce and get another woman's opinion about, what to do and where he's at. It's so fucking funny. And then to cut from that, where I was happy there's a prediction also around this about Spike, coming in the house because he's already been invited. And then to Angel just standing outside angry, like, I'm going to do something as soon as someone lets me in here. And he does, and it's fun, but it's just a delightful scene. And then Joyce
the
is
visual
also
gags with him being like,
Yep.
I mean, this is the stuff you can't do in a vampire show, unless you really build a universe like this show has, right? I feel like this gave me the most pleasure to watch because I've never seen a show do that, and it was just really fun and stupid. It was the most playful, stupid vampire sequence, and it made me like Spike a lot because even though he's angry and threatens people's lives all the time, like here's him being super vulnerable. Like he can't help himself.
It's also fun. Like he's building this relationship with Joyce, like it builds on their hanging out from last season and the marshmallows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. More of those little marshmallows. Yeah. That would be a great line to pull out too. Good call.
I feel like there's scenes like this that you can only really write once you've really established characters, and then you get to a point where you can just move characters together and see how they interact, I feel like myself as a writer, I've only really gotten that with characters a couple times because I tend to just write short fiction. So it's hard to get to that point where you are just comfortable enough with the characters to just have them able to almost write their own story, almost write their own scene just by what would this character say to this character? They just are able to bounce off each other,
Well, when you say that, the first thing I think of in your writing is the end of Amelia, where you have about every character who's still alive just shoved into a hotel room together. And it's just it's such a strange and confusing sequence, but the characters, so it's followable, but you couldn't start the book there, right? If you start from the last act of Amelia, it's it's too hard, but it's delightful to read that part.
And so, what other television shows? Because that's a strength of that's one of the cited strengths of Buffy and Angel, that the characters are so well fleshed out that they can do scenes and skits like this that are really amazing. I kind of rack my brain to think about, man, what other long-running television shows are people actually have a really interesting backstory that they can do scenes like this. And admittedly, this is a genre show, so part of it's Well,
I don't want to overstep. I mean, it's a delightful scene. I don't know how deep the scene is. I mean, the scene is
the ability of the.
I mean, the scene works because it's such a simple scene to follow. Where you have three different motivations. In a sequence.
Yeah,
I would say it's a shame, Mike, that you haven't really seen any of the Angel's character is just written in such a stuffy way. We said this earlier. It's a shame you haven't been able to see David Boreanaz do some just lighthearted acting, which exists. So someday you and I will have to just watch a little bit of Bones, early Bones, and you can actually see he has a range. He actually has a range of emotions and comedic styling. But you'll never see it. You'll never see it in this show.
This is a separate podcast where I just watch the TV shows that you recommend because you have such a unique. And to me, miscellaneous assortment of shows that really you connect with.
It's particular.
It's very particular. And so I think you watch Bones because of Boreanaz, right?
I'm actually
Or is it because, well,
Well, I was a pathologist, forensic pathology. It's a really fun show. There's there are actually a lot of great character actors in that show. It totally went off the rails. That's what happens when you're on season. You have a contract for 10 seasons. Let's get back to Buffy.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So, but you were saying like what other shows do this, and I don't think a lot of other shows do, because it's kind of like the show has gone off the rails, right? This is like a moment where Spike and Joyce are interacting because, Willow says she's got a book there, which is a trick because she wants Buffy to intervene or whatever, right? Like it's all kind of off the rails here, but we don't mind because I'm so used to this show's pacing at this point that I can enjoy it. But I think I would be annoyed for another show to do this. I don't think other shows can pull this off because it's so off book for the story to go here.
Yeah.
To bring these disparate, contrasting characters together. I mean, it's still a lot of fun. But
so
90s TV is a mess, though. It's
paper mache boobs.
Oh,
are we skipping there? Oh yeah. This is the magic shop. The first scene in the magic shop with Spike, he's just like, to his left is like this like paper mache thing, but it's got like paper mache boobs, and it's just like, I don't know. It was just, I felt like it was worth noting. He's like really close to these paper mache boobs for like a bunch of shots.
Is it for displaying jewelry though? Like
for necklace?
No, they have like nipples. I mean, and it's like, I think it's like I don't know, a goddess or something. Somebody on Twitter should probably tell us what it was. Do some research.
All right. So this is like, I'll grab a screen grab for you, and then you can tweet that out and ask, what are these for?
Well, I mean, you gotta narrow it down just a little bit more. But Mike or Dennis, what's going on with Ethan Rayne? Everyone's favorite Ethan Rayne.
Oh, just because Drew leaves Spike for a chaos demon, who's all slime and antlers, and I was just like, I bet Ethan Rayne would be into that chaos demon.
We don't really know Ethan's sexuality.
I think Ethan Rayne would be into Drusilla. I think that would be an interesting pairing.
I feel like he's really into Giles.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably more likely.
Like Pain. Like I bet.
I just wondered if because Ethan Rayne worships chaos and he worships Janus, right? But does he know about chaos demons?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, he has to be a versatile knower of those sorts of things because all the supernatural stuff he dreams up. He is like a human chaos demon himself, right? Like,
yeah. I bet he's met a chaos demon.
I bet he hasn't met a chaos demon he didn't like.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, you got a prediction here? When Buffy goes to college, she's going to stop slaying?
Oh, yeah. One more Ethan Rayne comment first. I think Ethan Rayne is a reader. And I say that because Ethan Rayne reads and knows a lot about dark stuff and can do dark stuff. But like he doesn't spend a lot of time in that world. And I say that because on that episode where he saw Trick kill somebody in Band Candy, when Trick kills someone on the line and he's like, looks like, maybe I'm next. I think that's a reaction of someone that reads a lot about demons and then is working with them as a different story. And it's like, oh gosh, they're bad people. So that's my reading Ethan Rayne.
I just like to pull pranks.
So I bet he's read a ton about chaos demons, but probably goes the opposite side of the room when he sees him. He's like, oh no, I know better than to hang out with that guy.
This is why I work alone. It's like, I work alone.
So this comment I made about so college is kind of held up in this episode as if it's an opportunity to leave slang behind. Like if Buffy goes to college, then, Faith can take over the slang for you. I don't actually think the show believes that, though. So I think that she still has to slay regardless. But the way that they're talking about it in the show, it's like, yeah, I mean, whatever. It's the same thing. It's like, then if I go to school, and of course, Buffy can't imagine the future. She can only imagine the world right now. She's incapable of seeing herself in the future where she would not be a slayer. So it's this student identity. Like she can't even understand that her SAT scores are high and that creates an opportunity for her. Like she's so unable to imagine the future. But I also don't think the show really believes that either. And it's just like, what people generally think about college. Like, oh, you're going to leave this behind. But like, it's going to follow her, right? Duh.
Yeah.
So you don't think Giles was serious? It's tough to say because
I think it's red herring from the show. I mean, I think it's like
like
It's
an
the
honest
show-
red herring. Like it's like the show wants you to be set up like Faith is going to take her place.
So
You-
I know, for instance, and I will make a prediction about this now. I wasn't going to,
Sure,
but now I'm
yeah.
starting to see that there's an opportunity for one, which is that Buffy's going to go to college, right? But demons aren't supposed to go with her because they're supposed to be gravitating around the Hellmouth. But the prediction would be like she goes to college with the expectation that she's going to leave that stuff behind, but clearly it comes with her, right? Like this is a part of her life she can't leave behind.
Like I feel like prediction's way too complex, and I really want you
What?
to simplify it.
All right.
Let's make a prediction about Faith.
Well, let's wait for the
Yeah, let's wait till
prediction
the part.
segment.
All right, fine. So I think Willow. Well, once Willow graduates high school, assuming she does, she'll have to get her own chem lab. Mike wants her to get her own chemistry lab.
Oh, I was just confused why she's using the high school chem lab. Like, I can't imagine any of the chemistry is beyond what you can't do in a kitchen. Except maybe you don't want to get your parents involved.
Why pay for Bunsen burner when you don't have to?
It's just funny to me, like how high school students, like, it's the reason Lover's Lane exists. It's like easier for her to do the magic in the chem lab than to do it at home, because she could get caught there, right? So
yeah. All right, Dennis, you've got 2 comments that I'm trying to anticipate what they mean.
I say Buffy jumping rope. I just want us all to appreciate that scene. It was a nice scene.
Great. Now we're not going to get any YouTube advertising revenue.
What? And then I just like Buffy's line about weird science, which is a okay movie and a funny TV series. So that's what those mean.
But related to that comment about weird science, because that's made, in the chem lab here, it's also when Cordelia is making her interpretation of all the things that could have happened to Oz. I mean, and I'm sorry, not Oz, but to Willow and Xander, but mostly Xander. And I love that the show is set up Cordelia with so much PTSD that like, oh, they're missing. This was where we're supposed to meet to go bowling. All these things could have happened. He could be a jelly thing. They're kidding. I mean, anything could have happened. Where's Giles?
So is this the episode where you really start to love Cordelia, Mike?
No, I feel like I've enjoyed Cordelia for a while, but
she's breaking out. You're like, oh yeah.
No, I do like her in this episode a lot because
I think she processes things. I think they wrote for her in a really fun way, and that she processes things almost like a layperson who is like trapped on the show and is trying to be on like a regular like teenage sitcom, but no, you're trapped on the Sunnydale set.
That's a great interpretation. Yeah, she's trapped in a show that she doesn't want to be on.
Like she really should be on Dawson's Creek. like that's where she was meant to be cast. In some ways, like that's how she's playing it, but she's a great genre actress. So, all right. So now we got some interesting stuff about the mayor. Mayor's kind of all knowing. He's creepy. He's playing golf, and he knows about Spike.
Yeah, he knew about Spike last year. He says so. I like the idea that the mayor is like a viewer of the show. He's like, oh, just the way he talked about it. He's like, we had a heck of a time guessing what he would do next. Like.
He still like regrets that the town was almost shoved into hell. He's strange. He also makes 2 great puns, right? Or he just makes 2 great jokes about a cannon rocking a boat.
Right,
it's a great moment. It felt like
is that a mixed metaphor?
Yeah, it was like did I say this telepathically? All right, love that Oz can smell out Willow. Mike.
Oh, I want to talk
abilities. Talk about this.
Yep. That's it. It's lovely. I predict that this ability will be used again, but Oz can smell out Willow. And I love your comment about Cordelia, where it's like she's trapped on the show. So it's like she comments on how strange that is. And she's not even wearing perfume or something like that. It's a great line. Yeah, it just smells her. And like, oh, and you didn't mention that you could do that? Like, I mean, you don't think about those powers, I guess, until you're, in a position to use them.
I'm pretty sure you made a prediction that will connect to this, right?
Can I come back to the very beginning of the episode where, and get your opinion, Mike? Because I think we all thought that we all thought that Cordelia and Oz would hang out socially, but Cordelia was against the double date from the very beginning. Is it just because she doesn't like double dates? Or is it that she doesn't like Oz, or she doesn't like Willow?
I think she just doesn't like bowling.
You think it's bowling? Because to me, it was more like a double date. Because it seems like she was against the double date before she was against it being bowling.
I feel like there's better things that she could do with her time than go on a double date. I think it's also the more she's seen with this group, the worse that her social situation is. Like, she even makes a joke. It's funny. Like, when Xander's photos are in her locker, right? The comment like, "Oh, I look good in these photos," because Xander's like, "Oh, am I locker material? Hey." And it's like, "No, I look good in these." Like, she's always been a little bit standoffish about the group and like has her own social identity. So I think a double date, which is like, you're a part of this group now, even though she's been a part of the group, like, I think it's just part of her character to have an aloof social identity.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I want to make a comment about the mayor though, because like the mayor scene, like, so the former Spike employees or associates that show up to prevent Spike from taking Angel, and Buffy, whatever, to where Willow and Xander are, like, are they called up by the mayor? Is that all the mayor did, was just let people know that Spike was in town? I assume.
He
because
told
it's unclear
his
the mayor's
assistant
influence.
he told his assistant to have Trick send a party to meet him. So they were sent there by Mr. Trick, who was ordered that by the mayor.
Oh, but they save money because Trick's not in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's going to be just the fee is going to be more minimal because Trick didn't have to do an in-person. Are we talking about the episode? Or are we talking about the mayor's finances?
Well, just with the episode.
Trick would charge the mayor more if he had to show up in person. Like,
It's more interesting to me that Spike is considered like the alliance of Spike is considered to be wrong. Like, it doesn't fit with the mayor's side of things. Like, he's not a force that they can control or use, and that they would, try and deal with him is interesting, because I don't feel like Spike's alliances are that well understood as for me as a viewer, and that for the mayor to have it so clearly figured out. Like, the mayor has considered Spike as dangerous, that he's aligned with Buffy and gang or whatever. And like,
I don't think he even knows that he's aligned with the gang. I think the thing he says is like, we can't, like, he was fun last year, but this year is too important.
Yes.
So like, it's more like, we just can't have this rogue agent now, because now is an important time for some reason.
This season.
Okay, well, I don't know the mayor's plan yet, but that's interesting. So Spike is just,
Well, there's definitely a plan in this.
He's a loose cannon, and it's going to rock the boat, and the mayor is the boat.
Or Sunnydale is the boat, yeah.
The mayor is the captain of the boat?
Yes. Okay. Something about homeless guy story, Dennis?
Oh, I just say the Angel, Spike, Buffy team up is really good when they're like walking around. And Spike clearly steals the show. Like, he's clearly someone, and he really, to me, like, shows how much more boring Angel is, right? When Spike does his when Spike goes up to the bench, he's like, "Drew and I killed a homeless man here." Like, that's just a romantic memory. I just like that scene a lot.
Yeah, Angel's
Spike showing up is so random. I mean, just to talk generally about this episode, like, Spike shows up, thinks he needs a love potion to get Drusilla back, after overhearing the idea that love potions exist. And then he figures out on his own that he can be the vampire he's supposed to be, and whatever, and that Drusilla fell in love with in the first place, and that'll win her back. And then the episode ends with him riding off in the sunset, doing it his way, right? It's just like, it's such a nutso character that just like comes through town drunk the whole time and then takes off. I love the character. It's just so otherworldly for this show with the Angel, Buffy, straight people, Anyway,
I think this episode in particular, but this show in general, does this interesting thing of having like wildly different scenes that come from like, they feel like they come from different shows, but they all come together. Like, the Spike scenes are so intense in this like wacky, crazy way, and then the Buffy Angel scenes are like from Wuthering Heights or something, right? Like,
yes.
And then like the normal high school scenes, and they all like they have such different tones, but but they all function together. They don't exactly clash, but like, I don't know. Some of the ones really just stand out more than others. And to me, the like Spike Bonker scenes are like,
I feel like this is what I misunderstood about this show, like not knowing about it. I feel like every supernatural show is trying to do what happens in this episode. And I think that I didn't understand that watching supernatural shows, because like I've tried to catch episodes of literally supernatural, but other urban fantasy shows like Lost Girl, Grimm, etc. And like I feel like the uneven tone of those shows, where I in general, and I'm a boring American that doesn't watch shows that have like supernatural tones that aren't thrillers, but also aren't comedies, right? That aren't dramas, that have all these different genres. Like so many genres are at play in this episode, but it's fun. It's fine. That's how this world works. But not knowing these multi-genre TV shows that are fantasy, I expect fantasy to have like one or two kind of characters and mostly be thriller. Like I love thrillers. I'm more drawn to those. And then this show is like all over the place in this episode. I loved it, but I think it prepares...
But it's like we're in season 3 now. It takes that long for something like that to fully function, right? To like get to know the characters, get to know the genres the show plays in order to have like that much going on in one episode, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
You can't just step right into it.
I still feel like this is still like an unusual television show, that there's not a lot of other shows that have mixed genres as much since this show. Even Grimm is a lot more consistent with a fantasy vibe, but it will have episodes that do mix like genres, but nothing. The only shows I can think of that really mix up genres as frequently or with as much abandon are an animated show as well. I know very well, Bob's Burgers. It's not fantasy, but it mixes.
No.
There's a lot of Mike's right. There's a lot of shows like Supernatural does like crazy genre mashups. Yeah. They literally did an episode where the characters jumped into another dimension where the show was a show, and they had to figure out how to use magic in the real world. But
right, like, and that's one of the few episodes of the show I've seen where Elizabeth saw it, my wife saw it, and said like, "Oh, you'd love this show." Like this. And ditto, there's an episode of Stargate SG-1 where there's like a fake show called Wormhole Extreme, and it's like this meta show thing where they like build to it, I guess, within a show, and it's like not in the first season even. But you know, this is a show like Stargate, which you think will be really dry and serious and about the Stargate, and it's often uneven and silly about some concepts in the show. It's not, you know, even Star Trek gets like this sometimes, but I feel like this show is so influential, but this type of episode in particular, I feel like so many shows since this have tried to do this, and I have not been aware of it. And so
you didn't know the origin.
This is the Rosetta Stone.
I feel like this episode of Buffy, maybe this season, is like a Rosetta Stone for understanding pop culture, like fantasy culture in the last 15 years. You know, I feel like I missed a big thing. Like I understood generally that Buffy existed, but it just makes so many things clear. Like even Harry Potter, I think, does this, you know, that kind of uneven tone where, yes, it's a family entertainment and it kind of plays with some drama elements, but like, I think the idea for a show that doesn't have to be so serious and like can have all these different types of characters, like, I don't know. I'm not being very smart about my observations in it, but I think that like I was missing this, and it's Rosetta Stone, clearly.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rant on it much longer.
You also love seeing Angel dump another vamp in the trash can.
Oh yeah, no, the fight scene's awesome.
It's a great fight scene in this episode.
I mean, it's got so many dumb elements. They throw the holy water at the guys. Angel literally picks up a guy and dumps him in a trash can.
Buffy also like smashes a vampire the exact same move she uses on Angelus when he first appears, where she smashes his head through the like glass display case and then up. That's the exact same move. I really love during that fight scene when Angel's trying to hold the door and it busts, and them just running on top of, like he gets stuck under the door. That was funny.
All right, what's up with Lenny's voice?
Oh, he's the lead vampire. I don't know what the dude's accent is or anything. He sounds like Tommy Wiseau or something, where they're like, you know, they say something to him and he's like, I wrote down the line. Better since you left. You should have stayed gone. He just has like a weird voice, and it's really distracting to me, and he delivers things in a weird way. I don't know anything about
Extras.
this dude.
Extras on
So-
Buffy. Marty Noxon
Yeah.
rails against extras on Buffy on some commentary that
Oh, yeah.
engineers might can watch. Okay, two last things about Dennis. You take us out of the episode. Spike's love is blood, and why do they like him? Why do they let Spike go?
Yeah.
Only the show's writers know.
Spike's got a good speech at the end. I think it ends up kind of being like a big moment for him, right? And it's a big moment for it kind of solidifies like a lot of what the metaphors of vampirism is, right? About love is blood and all this. And he also has the line, though, like, I may be love's bitch, but at least I'm man enough to admit it.
Yes, he's got a lot of good lines. I don't know why they let Spike go. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
they
why.
just let Spike walk out. Like, dude, you could have staked him right then and there.
The thing is, you don't stake a character as good as Spike.
Yeah,
That's why I let him walk.
and I did.
agree
My
that-
last noting, I
no.
feel like we really need Cordelia's funeral is the best fake out ever.
Ever.
Yeah,
Also-
I thought it totally works too. I totally thought that she was dead. I totally thought when they cut from her falling through, I mean, it's so sad, like falling through the steps or whatever and being impaled. It's like, oh, shit.
I have to tell
And
you,
then
she wouldn't be fine. Wouldn't miss everything. She would be in serious trouble if that actually did what it did on screen. It would not be fine. There'd be 0%. It'd be like 1 in a billion. I can't even say it'd be 1 in a billion. It'd probably like 1 in a 10 billion that she would be fine. Doesn't make any sense, but they did.
Did she stab a kidney?
The diameter of the rebarb, the location, the fact that it enters and exits. Yeah, the idea that there would be so much that would have happened. But anyways, that's why it looks really serious. So that's why, it could have been fatal. But best fake out ever. Yeah.
I'm also bummed. I'm really bummed John's not in this episode to go through the predictions and stuff because season 3, episode 8, finally the show has its first funeral.
Yeah, no, I totally thought there would never be a funeral, but I know that they did it just to trick you, like just for the value of tricking you. But it is a funeral.
Yeah, it's our first funeral. We don't even know who it's for, right?
No.
It should be for that poor magic shopkeeper.
Oh, and it's just a random funeral. So
It's a
maybe
throwaway.
technically not a
It's so
funeral.
sad.
It's a throwaway. It's a background funeral.
I'm
No,
still calling it a funeral.
No, it's a
Because
funeral.
we hear the preacher talking and everything. If it was only a visual gag, but we actually because it gets a shot that's like of just the funeral, pulls down, we hear the preacher talking and stuff before we hear Buffy and Willow. I say the show showed a funeral.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, too bad John isn't here to help with that. So we'll see what he says.
Make it up. All right, on to themes and deep stuff. So this episode,
On the
somebody wrote
questions,
this.
right?
Yeah. Oh, questions. There we are. What's classier than bowling, guys?
That's a Cordelia quote.
Mhm.
Or no, a Xander quote. What's
Yeah.
classier than bowling?
They've done mini golf.
They have.
So many things are classier than bowling. But we never even commented about how Willow got all hot and bothered by the dark.
Right, shoe rental. Yeah.
Well, it's
Got a
like the
foot
shoe
fetish.
rental and
I
the
don't know.
smoke and everything. Playing pool or snooker. That's classier, right? Snooker.
All right, where would you guys take your imaginary double date in Sunnydale?
Pool hall.
Trivia night. Some kind of trivia night's a good one.
Wait, are we talking about high school self or current self? Because high school self, we were always at the pool halls.
Well,
What?
that's not a
Were
good.
we?
That's not a good location for a double date, my friend.
Why wouldn't it be? It's a competitive game involving large wooden sticks.
I think trivia night works at any age,
Yeah.
and that would totally work. Trivia night of some kind. At like
Yeah.
a Buffalo Wild Wings type place.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings. That's what we would have done in high school, definitely.
All right.
It's a good double date. Otherwise, volunteer work.
What is Willow's plan?
Building a house for Habitat for Humanity. Putting in some sweat equity. That's all.
SAT question about the episode. What is Willow's plan?
Oh, yeah, let me do this one. So this is an SAT question. I'm framing it as an SAT question. So what is Willow's plan for her love spell? Is it for A, Buffy, B, Xander, C, herself, D, all of the above?
The question is incorrect because it's an anti-love spell.
Okay, and her anti-love spell. Who is it for? Okay,
It's
thank you.
for-
We need a board to review these questions. I can't just, they should be printed out. My mistake.
And then it's either Willow, Xander, or Buffy, or all of the above.
Right, and these are the BSAT, the
all of
Buffy
the above.
Standardized Academic Testing.
Yeah, all the above.
Yeah, all of the above is closest because it's
Yes.
Xander and Willow.
Yeah.
It's
it's
just
not
so
for
funny.
Buffy.
I didn't include Spike in that list because Spike needs the love spell, but like there's literally so many people need this anti-love spell. It's like it could be sprinkled throughout the cast. Turns out everyone
That's
needs
true.
it because Cordelia's going to need it to get over, Xander, whatever.
I'll tell you
all
what,
this stuff.
Cordelia don't need no love spell to get over Xander.
Oh yeah, she's over it. Man.
She got a rebarb.
She got a rebarb through the heart.
I love even the wording of that phrase she gives when Xander walks in to the hospital. She goes, "Stay away from me."
She's like, can you get me onto Dawson's Creek?
Because you hear the "stay" and your brain's like, "Oh, maybe they'll get back together." Away from me.
Yeah.
It's
I also
like-
like that he comes in and he's like, "These are flowers," because I feel like that's a reference to in Killed by Death
Yes.
when he calls the balloons flowers.
Yeah. Questions for the group. So the next one is, where are people going to get magic ingredients? The shopkeeper's dead. Sounds like they need a
I
new
think-
shopkeeper.
Yeah, it's just going to be the same family, just keeps losing members.
So same magic store location, new employee.
Same incredibly cursed location of the magic shop. And Mike's asking us.
It's dangerous to be an arms dealer when there's a war. All right.
Well,
That's all.
dangerous.
Yeah, but that's also when you make the most money.
Yeah. Well, I also love how the shopkeeper's like, "Oh, you want these raven's feathers and this and this? Oh, it's $15.80." It's like ladies like almost making up prices. There was no calculation. It was $15.80. Why Buffy was shish kebabbing some vampires, but then dropped the stands? Why? This is a comment on Buffy's fighting technique from Mike or Dennis. I don't remember who.
Oh, it's from me. Sorry.
Oh.
She shish kebabs during the crazy fight scene 2 vampires with an umbrella stand, and then immediately drops the stand to go fight vampires with no staking weapons. It just irritates me.
Inconsistent.
But it's a
fighting
thing she does a lot, where she like drops the spike or whatever. Like,
silly, inconsistent fighting technique.
Yeah, they're really into the spike, into using a stake because it's handheld, but everything else around them is so much more useful. It seems like an upgrade would be inevitable. Or at least help them, right? If it works, use it. No, totally. That's a good point.
All right, now we're on to themes and deep stuff. So Mike's got the first theme.
So this episode is all about what it's like to be broken up with. Spike is a mess. What kind of mess are you when you're broken up with?
well, it's been a long time, but I've been a mess before. I mostly get really drunk, I guess, when I get broken up with. Much like Spike, now that I think about it. And I'm a wallower. I definitely have wallowed in the past.
Ever done a love spell or two?
I've never tried a love spell.
All right.
I'm a late night phone caller. If I'm broken up with, it's a lot of long phone calls about life.
With other people, right? Not
Yeah,
with
other
Jackson.
people. No, I go down the list and just call everyone, and it's like, who's available? You need to talk. I totally related to Spike's. Was just wallowing to people, basically random people. But I wouldn't talk about the relationship so much as talk about life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, this is an opportunity to really evaluate life.
Yeah. I'm much like you, Mike. Definitely. Oh, there's a lot of short-term despair, and a lot of fear for the future, and that's where like the ticking stock of life comes in. But yeah, equal parts, more parts fear for the future rather than wallower. But I've had so much practice, just rolls off my back now. Oh man.
So Travis, you have, go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like I came up with a different theme for deep stuff as well as we were going through this, but I totally escaped my mind.
Well, you're distracted by this other conversation you want to have, which you've hinted at before the podcast.
Yeah, so it's like, why is this the most important episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah, why, Travis?
And I'm trying to say it without being spoilerish. I thought about maybe I just go back and list the important episodes, right? Like seminal episodes that shape the storyline. And so, previously in super important episodes, episode of the Master when the Master gets killed, right? We can see some teams coming together, but the Master bones aren't, smashed up yet. The Master was an important episode. Kendra was an important episode, introducing the idea of other Slayers. Then we had the next most important episode, Surprised by Innocence, where Angel becomes evil. Then the next most important episode, Jenny dies. Right, so it's all setting so these are all things that play out much farther. And it feels like we're still dealing with these. We're still dealing with episodes or ramifications from season 2. And then in this one episode, we clarify, and I want to reward you a point, Mike, for the prediction. But we clarify that that number one, Buffy and Angel's love can never be consummated ever again. And so that's going to have ramifications for the future. We see that the only good relationship Xander or Willow had is nuclear destroyed. They're the real atom bombs in their own personal lives. And it builds upon the fact that Giles's relationship was destroyed, never to resume, of course, because Jenny is dead. And so basically, if those other episodes had huge ramifications, then this one episode, all the ties are cut between a lot of the main characters in early middle season 3. So it's going to determine what happens for the next 4 seasons of Buffy and Angel, and even further down the line. So without spoiling too much, and Dennis can pull me back from spoiling more. But so that's why I think this is important, because all the separate episodes, they're all important, but this is where, so much ties were severed. So many unretractable actions occurred. So
well, that's interesting, because while I would predict that, Buffy saying goodbye to Angel, because in this episode is important, I certainly wouldn't have assumed they would never get together. So I don't believe you on that. I don't think that it's the end of the Buffy-Angel relationship, though it defines their relationship, like they can't be together. But I haven't seen the whole show, so I don't know. But you're saying the way that it plays out, that's interesting.
I'm just coming at it.
You still have an open prediction about that, right?
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to say too much, but none of the other stuff has been walked back, right? Jenny's death hasn't been walked back.
I can see why. I mean, this is
this is.
I think I understand why this affects you, Travis. I think this episode is kind of like the divorce episode, right? It's the characters that you want to get together can't get together again, and they're never going to get together, and they're never going to recover from this. And it's the fantasy that we all have when our parents divorce, that our parents are going to get back together, and they don't, right? This is the divorce episode.
In some ways, yes, but it's also even more strange. And I say that because I have a really weird version of life, it feels like, but I interact with a lot of people at different ages, all above 18, just in my daily work. And
all 18 plus.
Yeah, adults. So I'll interact with people in their 90s, 80s, and you nowadays we take that people have lots of different relationships, between two people, men, women, whatever, and that there's a lot of different relationships, but eventually you could always get to a good relationship, right? In the past, many people had relationships that started in high school, and they would marry, then they marry, and not many of them were not nice or happy or whatever, many lasted 70 plus years. And so, my perspective is, fear of that, fear of making that one mistake, right? Where, and it's a trope in romantic comedies of the one breakup or the one person that you miss out on, the one person you don't have a relationship with. That was your chance at happiness, right? The modern theory is there's multiple chances at happiness, right? With multiple different people. That hasn't always been the prevailing theory. So this episode is playing a little bit on the divorce episode, but then also playing on a moment in time of relatively young adults. The question is, so you got to operate on the idea of, well, I'm going to find that person I'm supposed to be with. That my mistakes haven't prejudiced me against achieving happiness. So that's where this other sort of separate.
Well, that is a deeply personal read, because I don't think the show is saying that, because
because
Willow is immediately planning for how to get back together with Oz, right? And I do think they'll get back together. I have a prediction that they will. And Xander is trying to make good with Cordelia. I don't think that's going to work out. I think that relationship was tenuous at best. Like Xander was always surprised they were together, and Cordelia always treated him a little bit alien, like he didn't deserve to be with her. And so I think that relationship can't last. But that's an interesting, like, long-term perspective about the history of relationships, right? Like that's kind of your.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a deeply personal read on. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, in the show, it's not like Giles has a new girlfriend. It's not like Giles is in a great relationship. Jay Calendar died about 4 or 5 months ago, whatever. But Joyce never remarried. I mean, it's kind of stark. So that's why this is it's a personal episode where, and it's also plays upon fears of high school, right? Like how will my mistakes in high school haunt me going forward? But
well, I think that's a good reason to go ahead. Sorry.
It's needless. They talk about lust anyways. So it's an interesting read.
It's a good reason to have Spike on the show, because if they didn't, like, it ends on this positive note with Spike going off into the sunset to pursue Drusilla. But like,
Spike's the real hero of this episode.
Spike comes in, crashes around, he's drunk, he's fucked up, and then he takes off and he's got a plan.
He is the best outcome of the episode.
Right. Nobody else has anything figured out. Spike is like desperately trying to figure it out. He's talking through his problems. He's like grappling with stuff, and then he comes out of it. He's got a relationship kind of in his mind that's going to materialize. Everyone else is just devastated. Buffy's broken up with Angel, but not just broken up with, like, hey, we are not a thing. And obviously the, Willow, Xander, Oz, Cordelia kind of situation gets resolved in a way that I'm very happy about, by the way. As a viewer, I felt amazingly happy to see those consequences finally happen, where they got caught and in such a big way. Like, that made me feel good. But then when Cordelia got impaled, all that good feeling went away immediately.
Yeah.
It made me so angry. Yeah.
That's definitely how the show treats its viewers. It's like, did we give you a moment of happiness? We better walk that back real quick.
Yeah,
well, that's interesting.
There's so much more I want to say on this topic, because again, I feel like there's other stuff, but I'm not going to spoil it for anyone.
You know what? We need a new category in the show, which is most important moments, because I feel like we brush on them, but like there are clearly moments that the show treats as the most important. Cordelia getting impaled and the discovery, like those are all super important moments that we didn't give a lot of time to this episode, but maybe we should. Anyway, just an idea. Them having live, which is great. It's super smart to do that. But yeah, Cordelia like getting impaled was so severe, man. And then like, it just rips your heart, man. Because that Xander has to be our side, and he's such a snake. Oh, shoot. It's just designed to hurt Xander. Can he ever be close to women again?
Should he?
I'm sure he'll find a way. Should he be?
Should he be close to women?
Can he be trusted?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, I think it sets up potentially so much from an analytical point of view, for future plot.
Well,
points.
It sets up the Angel show, right? Like that he can be on his own.
Right. And so my extrapolation, my insanity, as people have called it on the podcast and off the podcast, to be frank, is, this moment in time, let's, create is the moment of creation for the Angel TV show. And I won't spoil that. I mean, clearly. And the TV show has to exist in order for a pair up of actors to exist, to have chemistry, and that.
So you're saying Angel is going to be with someone other than Buffy?
No. Don't read into that. I'm saying a pair of actors has to exist and have incredible chemistry on that TV show, and so that 7 years after that show ends, those actors appear in a movie together, opposite one another, and that everything that exists from that, all their work acting up until then, pays off in that one movie. So to me,
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
I think I know what he means.
It reminds me. I wanted to ask you if you've been watching, Travis, if you've been watching The Gifted, the new X-Men show on Fox.
Saving it. But,
okay, because it's starring Amy Ackert from Angel. So when I saw those ads, like I can't not immediately think of you when I see.
Oh yeah,
somebody from Angel, right?
Yeah. So for me, the sadness I experience when I watch Buffy, which is incredible sadness, and I won't spoil it. That can mean anything, right? All that exists in this world so that the incredible high of this other movie can exist. That's how it balances out in my mind logic. So that everything that exists, it doesn't exist for a reason, but it exists. And the magical benefit of that is this incredible, the best, the most amazing 3 minutes of a movie of cinema ever. So anyways, so it exists for this one special period.
I want you to explain this to me, but maybe after we're done recording, because I don't know what you're talking about. Do you want to move on to?
I want to make a prediction about what you're talking about, though, really quickly, which is
I'm not trying to red herring you.
You are a little bit, because I think what you're talking about is I know from you talking about it that Charisma Carpenter, Cordelia, is on Angel, and this relationship sets up is something to do with her, but I don't know what it is. And that's what you're hinting at, that this sets it up because she's not tied to Xander. So
she's not tied to Sunnydale, but yes.
Or Sunnydale. Well, graduate from high school, she's not going to go to the same college, obviously, as Buffy. She's going to go to a college in L.A., closer to Angel's detective agency. Anyway, I can figure this out.
So much, man. This is amazing. Let's go to
Or she's not going to go to college. She's just going to be a rich lady. All right.
Man. Don't, let's just go to regular predictions. And I'm not trying to troll the YouTube audience. What I'm trying to say is, without being cryptic.
But you're so cryptic.
I'm trying not to ruin things. What I'm
this
trying to say
has been like a half hour of crypto talk.
No, this is it. This is the addition.
Travis Thomas, tell us more.
This is the addition. Imagine you suffer. All right, here we go. Imagine that Buffy and Angel exists, so that two actors who play opposite each other, then 7 years at the end of Angel, play opposite each other in the most amazing movie.
You've said this so many times, I still don't know what movie you're talking about, but you're not even going to tell me until after the podcast, I imagine. But you need to tell me, because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And you just repeating the same thing over and over again isn't helping me at all. It's actually making me mad. Sorry, I don't know where this anger is coming from. Can we just do predictions?
Let's just do predictions.
Okay, predictions. So John's not here. We don't know what's been resolved.
Who knows? No one knows.
No, it's important to have one person officially resolve things.
Yes.
So
can I guess, though? Can we do a thing where I guess what the predictions are based on what I remember?
Yeah, please.
You said, let's just say Oz's werewolf strength comes in handy. So that's correct.
That's not very helpful. Yeah.
The funeral, you said no funerals. There's a funeral, so that's a minus.
I feel bad because I think I said there were no funerals either.
No, but obviously no one remembered there were funerals because it's a gag.
Oh, wait, no, there are funerals.
Those are the two I remember. I don't know.
Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Make some bad predictions.
I predict that Oz's powers of smell will come in handy again. I feel like that's such a useful power.
Yeah, totally.
If I haven't said it before, Cordelia and Xander will not get back together because Cordelia needs to be on Angel. That's not why, but Cordelia and Xander will not get back together.
In a relationship.
in a relationship.
Romantic relationship.
They will. Thank you. Cordelia and Xander may become friends, but they will not be in a romantic relationship together, except in a dream or a fantasy. or possessed. Anyway, whatever. They're not in a real relationship.
Yes,
and if it's a fantasized relationship or a dream or a drug or a Nightmare on Elm Street situation. Okay, well, there's a particular...
No, yeah, I would totally, just to fuck you over, be like, sorry, Mike, you're wrong. If like...
I guess I have been voted against on the triumvirate.
Yeah, you have. No, John and Dennis are very powerful, and their love of genie-like predictions.
It is true. Those two are in cahoots.
They really should have. They actually,
really
they both wrote Robin Williams'
in the
character in the Aladdin film. They both wrote how the genie works. Also, the genie.
I provided most of the pop culture references for Aladdin, as everybody knows. I was like, hey, Robin, you should do your Jack Nicholson impression.
Anytime there's been a genie or a three wishes scenario, John and Dennis have been called on to confirm whether or not the wishes, how they would come true.
You don't get called out. Okay, keep going, man. Spike is
Spike is not going to get back together with Drusilla. His love plan is not going to work. He's very excited about this plan. It is not going to work.
Oh man, I feel like my whole world is spoilers. Keep going. I was going to ask you a question.
Please ask a question.
Are you really dedicated on getting to the bottom of that spoiler or that prediction?
What do you mean?
Are you willing to go all the way?
Oh, because it's to the end of the show is what you're saying before?
I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
What are you doing?
Oh my God. All right. We're at the end of prediction.
Something we're going to have to figure out next season is like how we deal with predictions that may or may not come true on Angel, but not on Buffy.
Oh, I see. So Spike is going to get back together with Drusilla on Angel. That's what you're saying.
I don't know. Maybe.
Or he might not.
Obviously.
Or maybe I'm red herring you. I don't know.
No.
He might not. Okay. All right. And then after predictions, we have Michael's grade, but we don't have Michael's grade this week. The teacher is on is busy. And I want to advocate for Mike getting a point for his prediction about Buffy and Angel relationship and Willow and Xander's relationship occurring on the same episode. I'm going to be overruled, but the spirit of Mike's prediction is totally right because both relationships end in a fiery volcano on the same episode. It's just called Lover's Walk and not Revelations. Okay. All right. So I think that is
it's time for Kill Count.
Kill Count and Kill Count and then some movie recommendations.
Yeah. Kill Count. I got 1 dead human and 4 dead vampires. That's what I could count from that ruckus of a fight. Those were the ones that at least exploded on camera, was 4.
What is that ruckus? It's an underworld quote.
Yeah.
Watch out, brother. Okay. Then recommendation.
And then for recommendations, I was thinking about movies where people get kidnapped. And I recommend the movie Chained, which is a Jennifer Lynch movie. Jennifer Lynch is David Lynch's daughter. And this is a movie from I want to say 2012 or 2013. And it's Vincent D'Onofrio as a serial killer. And he kidnaps this kid and basically raises the kid to become another serial killer.
I think you have to say Vincent D'Onofrio is playing a serial killer.
Yeah, maybe.
There's some concerns that Vincent D'Onofrio just is a.
I don't know. I'd be afraid to be in a room with just Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Me too. Can I throw excess baggage on that list of kidnapped movies?
Sure. Yeah. Travis recommends Excess Baggage.
I'm a big Alicia Silverstone fan, man. I think I had Benicio del Toro before he really. Oh man, just think about Excess Baggage sometime.
And I also recommend
the
movie Funny Games, which is another it's a home invasion movie. And I guess there's a German version that's almost the exact same thing as the American version. I've only seen the American remake, but it was by the same director.
I've only seen the original. It's terrifying.
Yeah. So Chained and Funny Games are both movies I recommend if you really are ready to be disturbed in a movie. They're not light recommendations. So if you're going for something light, go for Excess Baggage.
Funny Games is a great thriller, but it's so terrifying.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it's a good movie of like, it fucks with your expectations a lot. Like, there's this whole setup in the movie that the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, where'd that knife go? Boy, they're gonna use that knife like later on. And then I'm like, oh, I was totally wrong about that. I don't know, the movie, like, it knows it's a movie, and it plays with like traditional like a traditional thriller structure, you know.
Okay.
Those are great recommendations.
Yes, fantastico.
And just before I sign off, I guess, I wanted to say thank you to the folks who watch this podcast who have bought my comic, especially Dingo Action, who posted a review on Twitter of it, and that was really nice of you. So thanks, guys. Thanks to everyone who's bought it, and if you haven't yet, I recommend you buy my book. All right.
Or any of the other books. They're all pretty awesome. They
books.
definitely are fine for like stocking stuffers for children of all ages. That's what I was told. There's a big E for everyone written on the cover.
Right. If you are the kind of parent that's okay with lots of gore and nudity, then these are perfect for your kid.
I know. I actually wanted to give one of those comics to my friends. My friends have some kids, but they're just not old enough. And I was like, oh yeah, this probably would not fly. Anyways, for the Christmas gift. Okay, so, all right, thank you. You have stuck it out through season 3, episode 8, The Lover's Walk. This is the Buffy Virgin podcast. I'm Travis. I am pretty crazy, but can hold the job down. So I'm passing. I'm passing right now as a regular human. We have Denis Comics. He's awesome. He has the orange bats. That's become more of his trademark. I like it as a background. DenisComics.com, Amazon.com. We're Facebook.com, Buffy Virgin Predictions, iTunes. You can find us iTunes, Instagram, Buffy Virgin, Twitter, Buffy Virgin Pod. Again, Buffy Virgin Pod on Twitter. And see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you. Interact with the show on Twitter. We're going to be posting that strange picture from inside the magic shop to see what people think it is. It's for.
Yeah, the paper mache boobs.
And if anyone wants to solve the riddle of the Sphinx that I riddled out, that's not really about a Sphinx, feel free.
Oh, to guess what this magical thing is.
I would divulge it in a heartbeat, but it's become this whole thing. So anyways, thank you for watching or listening. Tweet us your thoughts. Sayonara.